Talk us through what's happening in Ukraine at the moment. There's been more missile strikes today, haven't there?
Yes, more missile strikes today. I mean, President Putin has made it clear that this is revenge for what happened at the Kerch Strait Bridge on Saturday. And yesterday there were 80-odd missile attacks, and now we know about 24 drone attacks as well. So over 100, about 108 attacks yesterday, another dozen or so today, and it will presumably go on. The Ukrainians are reasonably successful in shooting down some of these things or intercepting them. They seem to have intercepted about half of all of those things launched against them. But those attacks have come from in the sea. Caliber missiles, cruise missiles have been fired over Moldova, over Moldovan airspace. The Moldovans are furious about it. Drones that have been launched from Belarus that have attacked different areas, attacks on Lviv this morning. And on Zaporizhia as well. So this is a new phase of it's not that new, we saw it in June, but it's a new phase of this part of the war that as the Russians are doing not very well on the battlefront itself, the war is now coming back to the cities and the civilian population of Ukraine.
And in terms of the West's response, how would you gauge that?
Well, the West has condemned it, and in a way this serves to increase the condemnation in the West. It increases the consensus in Western powers that they've got to bring more pressure to bear on Putin and China and India to stop backing Putin. More practically, Western powers have said, OK, we will give you more anti-aircraft weapons. The United States... Yeah, these sorts of things. They're all similar sorts of things. The United States have got the NASAMS, which is a Norwegian-American type, which is a surface-to-air missile. Britain gives them Starstreak, which is very good. Importantly, Germany has this IRIS-T system, which it agreed to give a couple of months ago, and it's been held up in the Chancellor's office. He wouldn't sign it off. This week, he said, you'll have it within a few days. And so there's this sense of rushing some anti-aircraft systems now, these very sophisticated ones that can pick out pretty well anything, missiles, drones, aircraft. Give them to the Ukrainians. They clearly can use them pretty well. And so this is a new phase of the war before the winter that seems now to be opening up.
And what about Belarus? I suppose we should go back to our map. The talk there, Belarus, of course, to the north of Ukraine. Talk of them banding together with Russia. They've already given a lot of support, haven't they?
Yes, they have. I mean, from the very beginning of the war, President Lukashenko has now said that there will be a joint Belarusian-Russian force on the border. They'll start to exercise. The force is not great. The Russians haven't got many forces to offer because most of them are involved already there. The Belarusian armed forces are pretty small. In theory, they've got about 50,000. In reality, they could put about 15,000 troops into the field. After a while, if you had to say how many could you put into the field this weekend, it'd probably be 5,000 or 6,000 maximum, with not very good equipment. It's a very long border, and so in principle, if there were an invasion of a joint Belarusian-Russian force, it could be quite close to Kiev. More likely, any invasion will be somewhere in the west, where there's less to run into. One could actually, make some mischief in the West. But to punch through the border and set up a new frontier would require more than Belarus and Russia could put together in the short term. But they're tempted to do it, or at least to threaten it, as a way of opening up a new front, give Kiev something else to worry about, and maybe something for which they've got to draw troops away. So far, the Ukrainians have just had a reserve force screening all of this, but they might have to do more.
OK, Michael, thanks very much.